What's up, family? Get this video a big thumbs up. It helps crush that YouTube algorithm. It's totally free. So we got Nalyssa Smith and Caitlin Clark are both members of the Indiana Fever. Sheryl Swoopes basically implied that she had insider knowledge about the Indiana Fever and something significant, or some significant players, I should say, are sick of the outside buzz and sick of being members of the Fever and they want to leave. So a lot of people thought she was talking about Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, and everyone just was looking at this stuff with them. Then it's like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston seem to be very good friends. Kelsey Mitchell seems to love playing for the Fever recently. So next, people were implying, oh, it's Nalyssa Smith, as I assume myself. It probably would be if someone did say something, since Sheryl Swoopes made it like she had the inside scoop and then claimed she wasn't in the locker room. The reality I came to, um, and the conclusion is Sheryl Swoopes is just making stuff up. That's the most likely scenario I side with, and she needs to knock it off. A lot of the reason I think Nalyssa Smith gets the short end of the stick is I believe is she's a good player, but she's just not the fit for the Indiana Fever team, in my opinion. Because I do not see how much she contributes to them winning necessarily. A lot of games where she has less buckets, she actually plays better for the team. But Nalyssa is a volume scorer on a team who does not need a volume scorer. And I think it's best if Nalyssa Smith leaves, but that's just my opinion. The other reasons I have are like, the Dejani Carrington, the Connecticut Suns guard in the WNBA, is Nalyssa Smith's on the Indiana Fever girlfriend, who is not a big fan of Caitlin Clark for whatever reason. Then Nalyssa Smith's brother also has Twitter fingers, is her biggest fan, and he doesn't say nothing fugazi, but certain posts her brother makes, it just makes things look not so much of. No, it doesn't make things look so good or not look so much the greatest, if that makes sense. So Nalyssa Smith did come out and she was talking about playing in front of a record-breaking crowd, and this is what she had to say. And as you can see in the post from Matthew Byron, Nalyssa Smith on playing in a record-breaking 20,000 plus crowd. This is what we've been hoping for forever. You never get used to it. There's always showing up and playing in front of sold out crowds. And then quote unquote, and I mean, shout out Caitlin, shout out Caitlin. We appreciate her. Now this was September 19th, in which he posted this, and September 19th was the Thursday when they played the Washington D.C. Mystics, which they lost by 1 point. But let's get into the video, family.
It's huge. Just this is what we've been hoping for forever. So, it's fun to play in front of these games. Like it never you never get used to it. Just always showing up and playing in front of sold out crowds. And I mean, shout out Caitlin. Shout out Caitlin. We appreciate her for this. It's huge.
So there we got it, family. So a lot of people was like, without question, it was not a well of a shout out because she was like, oh yeah, of course, shout out Caitlin, shout out Caitlin. There was like more of a laugh, like, oh yeah, shout out to her. And she mentioned you never get used to playing in front of full crowds. And I think she was just, you know, giving her respects. Feel like it was nothing wrong with it. And then I came to scroll down to the comments, and then the individual was like, it would have been more meaningful if it had came from her heart and not just read from a script. And I think she means it, but how hard is it to say what you think? And I just feel like I think she was looking down. Like I think she was just looking down. I mean, even when I'm talking or I'm reading something, I tend to look away from the camera. So I don't think it was scripted. I think she was just looking around as she talked. Clearly, you can see it's not scripted because you see her eyes everywhere and she's just looking up and stuff like that. But that's just my take on it. Um, and sometimes you read things, and then sometimes you just look down naturally, man. But Nalyssa Smith, she had a good game herself. She had 16 points in that game. Um, but look, I don't know if she was reading something or just looking down. But like I said, sometimes you read things and sometimes you look down naturally. And it's a thing at times when I'm looking away from the camera. But however, just imagine, you know, so much going on and being able to digest playing in front of 20,000 fans on a Thursday night when they are playing versus the Mystics. 16 points in front of 20,000 fans. Nalyssa Smith probably didn't have as many fans like this since her college days when she was in Baylor. And Nalyssa Smith won the NCAA championship in Baylor in 2019, and it's 2024. So ain't nobody was checking for the WNBA like that until this year of 2024. Or should I speak for myself? Because I was definitely not checking for the WNBA at all until this year. Um, and now Nalyssa is playing for the Fever, and it's every single game of these record-breaking crowds, right? Every single time when she's playing. And I say that she's happy, um, out being out and playing in front of those crowds. And obviously she won a championship in college, um, and she's currently, um, with the players on her team and plays with her team, the Indiana Fever. And she knows that the playoffs is going to have three full seater stadiums. Sorry, family. Um, so look, I think she just going to be excited as well as playing against her girlfriend, um, Dejani, Carrington in the playoff series today, this Sunday. And the only thing with Nalyssa Smith, I know a lot of people kept saying she plays terrible versus the Connecticut Suns, but I think she was a little bit nervous the last time. I believe she did do a good job on Alyssa Thomas. I think she genuinely did a good job guarding um, Alyssa Thomas in that game. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see in this series because and see how good the Fever's players pull it together, of course. And I think when it comes to social media, like I think there were issues with the Fever at first during the earlier part of the season with the Fever when it came to social media. But I think so many of it happened earlier on in the season that it's easier to deal with now. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing with the social media in itself is, you know, it's easier to deal with when you're winning games and you're doing great with the team and all, and just anybody. Like, think about it. You're receiving backlash, but things are going well in your life and it doesn't really bother you. So, Nalyssa Smith can probably deal with the social media stuff more, since she had a good game, or when she believe it was a good game, than if it was a bad game. Because if you're getting backlash when it's good, it's like whatever. But I do believe the Indiana Fever are doing a better job with the whole social media in itself, better than anyone else of making sure the team can deal with social media. Um, Especially when you got someone like Sheryl Swoopes who's just being petty and making up unnecessary lies and speculation when obviously we can see that the chemistry is good with the team. But with the Indiana Fever, nobody is out there with the Twitter fingers crashing out like Sheryl Swoopes. So no one is on Twitter like we see with some players on the Connecticut Suns teams, players from the Sparks, and then you got Sydney Colson. Yeah, she's just Sydney being Cindy, who's a Twitter troll who just became an NBA WNBA player, I should say. And she'll be in the media as like a Gilbert Arenas talking head when she's done playing, and she's great at doing that. But no one else in the Aces has bad Twitter fingers. No one on the New York Liberty or the Lynx has Twitter fingers. The Suns, Dejania or Miss Carrington, which is Nalyssa Smith's girlfriend, she has Twitter fingers. But the vast majority of teams near the top, um, no one really has Twitter fingers. The teams that are at the top, seated at the top, like no one on the Storm has Twitter fingers. So it's a lot of the dysfunctional teams at the bottom, down at the bottom, that we see the Twitter fingers, and they're really being affected by social media. And I hope none of these players, knock on wood, aren't affected by it from what I'm saying. But in the reality is, none of the commentary on social media is going to stop. As the league grows, players are going to get hate, criticism, and it's not even a fraction of the percentage of the hate that the NBA players get. And it's always going to happen, but I am glad that we can see with Nalyssa Smith, it doesn't seem to be affecting the locker room. And you can even see with the Indiana Fever, um, because everyone being like, oh, the Fever has locker room issues. Well, I want to show you guys this. This was basically the Indiana Fever team over here is just wilding out on the bench, like dancing and everything. Good spirits.
Washington into the timeout.
Wallace is
Look.
certainly going to give Christie's side something.
Washington into the timeout.
Look, it's a 0% change to me. Now look at the Fever. If none of you guys did not see this, it's the Fever going wild on the bench on the September 19th game when they played the Washington Mystics. Yeah, look, I'm over here saying George Washington. But they were going wild on the bench. When the bench was cooking on the floor, the bench was going wild. So you see Lexi Hall, Nalyssa Smith, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, they all up there dancing and celebrating the teammates, bro. So chemistry issues, nah. Pretty good team, good chemistry. I'm glad they do have good chemistry. I'm glad they band together and don't let this nonsense get to them. And they continue to be a phenomenal team and be strong at their foundation, let alone their core, to continue to grow and expand as a young team as being amazing as they are. So comment down below you guys' perspective on it. Within how you felt in regards. Do you feel like Nalyssa Smith's commentary on showing support and giving thanks and respects to Caitlin was genuine, or you feel like it was scripted? Do you guys see any chemistry issues that Sheryl Swoopes try to accuse the whole Indiana Fever of having issues in the locker room? Do you guys feel like that was true or false? Let me know down in the comments. Get this video a big thumbs up. On that note, family, peace.